Welcome back to lecture series on control systems. So in last class, lecture 16, we were discussing about uh, partial fraction techniques and Laplace transform and Laplace inverse transform. So we know why we discuss about this Laplace transform and Laplace inverse transform, because for solving the complicated problems in second order system, for finding their response, we need partial fraction. So what do you mean by response? Response is nothing but C of t. Transfer function is C of s by R of s. C of s by R of s is transfer function. If we cross multiply that R of s to transfer function, we will get C of s, that is output in frequency domain. But we want time response, that is output in time domain. So we have to convert C of s to C of t, that is output from frequency domain to output in time domain. So what is the tool we are using for converting from frequency domain to time domain? Everybody knows that that is Laplace inverse Laplace inverse transform. For transferring from frequency to time, we need Laplace inverse transform. And if we want to transfer from time domain to frequency domain, we need Laplace transform. Anyhow, in lecture number 15, we discussed detailedly about the all rules and standard results of Laplace transform. And in lecture number 16, we did how we can implement Laplace inverse transform. And in that one, we briefly discussed about the three types of partial fraction techniques. Because partial fraction is really important for implementing Laplace inverse transform. I think now all of you are clear about those lectures, and now we are moving to somewhat in depth to the analysis of second order system. So first of all, just review what are the important things we learned about second order system in previous lectures. So this is from last lecture. Last lecture means I think it is from lecture number 14. So standard representation of a second order system. Any second order system can be represented in this form. If what do you mean by second order system? The denominator is having a s square term. That is the one and only thing. Not only s square term, it may be s plus 1 into s plus 2. That is also if we are opening that brackets, s plus 1 into s plus 2. If we are opening the brackets, it will also become s square, and s square term will be there. So the higher power of s term will be 2. That is the condition. So C of s by R of s is equal to omega n square by s square plus 2 eta omega ns plus omega n square. This is the standard representation of a second order system. So its characteristic equation is nothing but denominator equal to 0. That is s square plus 2 eta omega ns plus omega n square is equal to 0. It is a quadratic equation. We know how to find its solution. Minus b plus or minus root b square minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Okay. Now, what is omega n? Omega n is undamped natural frequency. And what is eta? Eta is damping ratio. Why these things comes in second order system? That is also covered in lecture number 14, because a second order system, if we are not providing any damping, it will have a oscillatory behavior. It will oscillate. That frequency of oscillation is known as omega n, undamped natural frequency. And if you are providing some eta is damping or friction, generally that oscillation will get controlled. It will get reduced. Okay. Anyhow, the roots of a characteristic equation are, roots of the characteristic equation given above are minus eta omega n plus or minus omega n into root eta square minus 1. Better you have to by heart this thing, minus eta omega n plus or minus omega n root eta square minus 1. Okay. Now, In that equation, we got two roots. As it is a second order system, we are having two roots, S1 and S2. Here it is. Minus eta omega n plus omega n root eta square minus 1 is the first root. Minus eta omega n minus omega n into root eta square minus 1 is the second root, like that. So, in that condition, if eta is equal to 0, that represents undamped. We are not providing any damping. So, the nature of response will be oscillating continuously. No control is there. It will oscillate continuously like a sine wave. And the roots are, please substitute eta is equal to 0 in this one. You will get the same thing. Everything is there in lecture number 40. I am just reviewing it. S1, S2 is equal to plus or minus j omega n. If you substitute there, you will get it. So, two roots are there, and these two roots are purely imaginary roots, plus j omega n and minus j omega n. Purely imaginary roots. So, if you get directly the roots, they are purely imaginary. You have to understand that the system is undamped, because you have to analyze the same thing in reverse manner also. If eta is equal to 0, roots will be purely imaginary. If roots are imaginary, you can understand the system is undamped. Okay. Next, eta is equal to, eta lies between 0 and 1, greater than 0 and less than 1. Such a system is known as underdamped. We are providing some damping, and the system oscillation, if you are providing some damping and the damping is not equal to 1, the higher value of damping should not be equal to 1. So, the eta value will be somewhat 0.25, 0.5, like that. You substitute that such a value for eta, then you will get minus eta omega n plus or minus j omega n root 1 minus eta square. The derivation is there in the 14th lecture. If you are having doubt, you can refer that. But what is the condition? First root is minus eta omega n plus j omega n root 1 minus eta square. Second root is minus eta omega n minus j omega n root 1 minus eta square. So, the two roots are complex conjugates. Complex conjugates. Is it correct? Complex conjugates. Okay. So, if we are getting two roots and these two roots are complex conjugates, they are having both real term and imaginary term, and they are having imaginary term are the first root's imaginary term is plus j omega n, whereas the second root's imaginary term is minus j omega n into root 1 minus eta square. That condition is known as complex conjugates. So, if roots are complex conjugates, we have to understand that the system is underdamped. Eta's value is greater than 0, less than 1. And third one, eta is equal to 1, critically damped. Please substitute that eta is equal to 1 in the previous equation. Then you will get S1, S2 is equal to minus omega n. Both values are same. S1 and S2, both roots are same, and real value, not imaginary value, real value and equal value. If such condition is arrived, you can conclude that it is critically damped system. Eta is equal to 1. Critically damped means the response will not oscillate. It will exactly goes to the final value. No oscillations are there. And eta is greater than 1, it is known as over-damped system. Eta is greater than 1, it is known as over-damped system. And you will get that if you substitute that value in our S1 S2 equation, you will get minus eta omega n plus or minus omega n root eta square minus 1. No imaginary terms are there, but two roots are there. One is minus eta omega n plus some real value, other one is minus eta omega n minus some real value. So, both roots are real and unequal. Okay. So, this is the case. If you are giving a unit step input r of t is 1. This is a unit step input. R of t is equal to 1 to a second order system. Okay, this is a second order system. Its output will be sum of this response. First one is undamped system. No damping is there. Eta is continuously oscillating. Eta is 0, so the response is continuously oscillating. And if you are providing eta is equal to 1, what happened? it will typically, it is a critically damped system, so the response typically moves to final value 1. What is the final value? Final value is nothing but the one that is provided by input. This is the input reference, so that should be the final value. So if eta is equal to 1, it will perfectly goes to 1. And if eta is greater than 1, what happens? Eta is equal to 2. It is known as over-damped system. It will also goes to 1 without having any oscillations. But the issue is that it is taking much higher time to reach 1. It is very slow because we are providing high friction. Eta is greater than 1. Okay. So let me ask how the response will be there for eta is greater than 0 and less than 1 or under damped system. What will be the response? I will try to draw here. It will go like this and it will oscillate and the value of oscillation reduce in each step. It will have oscillation but the magnitude of oscillation reduce in each step like this. I will repeat once more. Like this, like this, like this. Its magnitude will reduce. I will sketch it in a separate figure like this. This is the damped oscillation, under damped oscillation. Its eta value should be greater than 0 or less than 1. So based on this response, we are commenting about the time domain specification. Damped response of a damped response. Time domain specifications. Okay, in the heading you can add not just specification, you can add time domain specification. Okay. So based on the definitions, we can come to the figure. First definition, delay time. It is nothing but time taken for the response to reach 50% of its final value. What is that? Time taken for the response to reach 50% of its final value. Now we can come to the figure. So this is the final response. 1. 1 is the final value. If it is a unit step input, the output's final value should be 1. So its 50% is nothing but 0.5. So what we have to find? Time taken for the output. Response means output. If you are in technically, we are generally specifying it as response, but it is nothing but simply output. So time taken for the output to reach 50% of its final value. So this is the output. This is the output. Here it reaches 50% of final value. So this is that time. This is the axis of time. So time taken for the response to reach 50% of final value, nothing but 0.5. This time is known as delay time, TD. This time is known as delay time. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now, raise time. Raise time is nothing but time taken for the response to raise from 0 to 100 for the very first time. It is an oscillatory behavior. So, it will go to the 100 and it will not stop 100. 100 is, what is the 100%? 1. 100% of output means 1. So, if it is starting from 0, it will not stop at 1 because it is under damped oscillation. It is oscillating. So, it will go towards somewhat upper value and it will come down and again it will go to 1 and it will shoot some upper value because it is an oscillation. So, sorry. So, here we want to find time taken for the response to reach 100 value at the first time. So, please observe, this is the response. It is going to 1. This is the first time. Again, it will shoot to some higher value and its value will come below down. Again, it is going to 1. It is shooting above. It is going below 1. Like that. It's an oscillatory behavior. But what we have to find? We have to find what is the time that the response or output is taking to reach its final value at the first time. So, this is the first cycle of oscillation. So, we have to observe this oscillation and this value is increasing and now it reaches 1. This is the 100% value, 0% to 100%. and this time taken for reaching the final value at first time is known as TR. Rise time, TR. I think it is clear. So rise time is nothing but time taken for the response to reach from 0 to 100% for the very first time. Very first time, that is important, because as it is oscillation, it will again goes to 100% value, again touches the 1. We don't want those values. Okay, in third point, it is peak time. Time taken for the response to reach its peak value for the very first time. Time taken for the response to reach its peak value, because 100% value is not the peak value as it is oscillation. 100% value is the final value. This is 100% value, but the oscillation will again goes to a higher value, and this is the peak value in this case for the first time. This is the peak value, and the time taken for the response to reach that peak value is known as TP. This is the axis of time, peak time. So peak time is nothing but time taken for the response to reach its peak value for the very first time. Okay, there is equations for these things. I am not going to the derivations. If you want, you can refer textbooks. Derivations are there, which is very easy derivations, mathematical concepts only. And I will just quote that final equations for doing problems only. Next, peak overshoot. Peak overshoot is the ratio of maximum peak value to final value. Okay, maximum peak value to final value. What is maximum peak value? Let us check the figure. Maximum peak value is somewhat related to this point. Is it clear? Yeah. But this maximum peak value is not this total value. Maximum peak value is the value of peak rise above the final value. This is the final value. This is the maximum peak value. This is the maximum peak value. You should have clear idea that maximum peak value is measured from final value only, not from the zero axis. Maximum peak value is measured from final value only. Okay, let us check. Where maximum peak value is measured from final value. And C of infinity, what is C of infinity? C of infinity is nothing but the response at infinite time. If you are giving infinite time, what happens? The oscillation goes, repeats the oscillation, and finally it will settle at what value? Final value. That should be 1. The final value should be 1 because it is damped. It will reduce the oscillation and finally it will settle to the reference value 1. So C of infinity is final value. And C of TP. C of TP means response when time is TP. When time is TP means peak time. When time is peak time, its response will be maximum value. Here you can see that when time is TP, this is when time is TP, the response is maximum value of output, maximum response. So if we are minusing C of TP minus C of infinity, what we will get? C of TP is this value. C of infinity is, this is the 1. 1 will be the final value. So C of TP minus C of infinity will give this gap. What is this gap? What is this gap? Please think. That is maximum peak value. So C of TP and C of infinity are defined. So peak overshoot is nothing but maximum peak value by final value. So it is C of TP minus C of infinity by C of infinity, and maximum peak value is just multiply that with 100. And its equation you have to by heart is written here. The derivations are there in textbook. You can refer. E raised to minus eta pi by root 1 minus eta square. E raised to minus eta pi by root 1 minus eta square. All these terms are common for the raised 2 factor minus eta pi by root 1 minus eta square. If it is in percentage, you have to multiply with 100. Next one, settling time. It is defined as the time taken for the response to reach and stay within a specified error. Time taken for the response to reach and stay within a specified error. We can check it. Here we can see this is an error because the response didn't reach the final value. Again it will go oscillating like this, like this, like this. But here the error means the response value and the expected final value. Expected final value is always 1. That response value, present value and expected final value, the difference is 2% only or 5% only. That error we can tolerate. I am okay. I am not ready to wait up to infinity for the response to touch 1. Let it oscillate. Because the error is very small, 2% or 5%, I can tolerate, no issues. Like that. Steady time is nothing but the time taken for the error, for the response to reach within a tolerance limit of 2% error or 5% error. Suppose this is 2% error. I don't know exactly. Suppose this is 2% error or suppose this is 5% error. This time is known as TD for 5% error. Delay time for 5% error. Then where the 2% error will come? The oscillation will again repeat. The value of oscillation will further reduce. And here somewhere I will get a 2% error. And that time is known as extend that to time axis. That time is known as TD for 2%. So which will be higher? TD for 5% or TD for 2%? Which will be higher? TD for 2% will be definitely higher because you have to wait some more time for the oscillations to get reduced further to get a small error. 2% error is small than 5% error. Okay. So error is nothing but final value minus that response. Okay. So that equation we have to by heart. For 2% error, Ts is equal to 4 by eta omega n. For 5% error, Ts is equal to 3 by eta omega n. Now you can see which is higher value. Okay, you can check, that is for T. If 1 by eta omega n is known as time constant, it is a constant for all system. If you are put for any system, you may have a eta value and omega n value. 1 by eta omega n is the time constant of that particular system. For example, omega n is equal to 1 and eta is equal to 2. What may be the time constant? 1 by 2 into 1, that is 1 by 2, 0.5 second. 0.5 second will be time constant for that particular system, like that. It is a constant value. So, for this system, Ts is equal to 4 by eta omega n for getting 2% error. So, for T is the 4 into that time period, that time constant is the time taken for settle. If we are expecting or if we are ready to tolerate 2% error. And if you are ready for expect somewhat higher, a 5% error, we have to only wait for 3 time constant, 3t, and that equation is equal to 3 by eta omega n. Anyhow, the settling time for 2% error will be higher than the settling time for 5% error. It is, you can imagine by using common sense only. Because when the time is going on, the error will get reduced because the final response is approaching more and more closer to our final value 1. Then error reduces. So when time increases, error reduces. So for 2% error, 4 time constant is required. For 5% error, only 3 time constant is required. And what is time constant? That is 1 by eta omega n. So better by heart these equations. And these are the other equations you have to by heart. Peak time is equal to pi by omega n root 1 minus eta square. Omega n is undamped natural frequency of oscillation. Eta is damping ratio. Rise time pi minus tan inverse root 1 minus eta square by eta all divided by omega n root 1 minus eta square. And peak overshoot, that is equal to mp, that is equal to e raised to minus eta pi by root 1 minus eta square. That is also discussed in last topic. So these are the three equations, and not only this, you have to remember that settling time equation also, that you may need to solve problems. So this is the first problem on second order control system. It is a unity feedback system, because in the feedback loop you are not having anything. Nothing is there in the feedback loop. No blocks are there in the, okay, 1 minute. Okay, no blocks are there in the feedback path. So it is a unity feedback system. So this is the question. Determine the gain k so that the system will have eta is equal to 0.5. Damping ratio is equal to 0.5. And next question. Determine the peak overshoot and time at peak overshoot for a unit step input. So you have to consider a unit step input. R of t is equal to 1 unit step. So R of s is equal to, we did many problems on this aspect. R of s is equal to 1 by s. R of t is equal to 1 unit step. R of s is equal to 1 by s. So first of all, we can find the closed loop transfer function. Okay, g of s is equal to k by s into s plus 10, and h of s is equal to 1. Okay, h of s is equal to 1. Then closed loop transfer function c of s by r of s is equal to g of s by 1 plus g of s h of s, g of s by 1 plus g of s h of s. Please substitute k by s into s plus 10 by 1 plus k by s into s plus 10. What happened? In this denominator, the common LCM will be s by s into s plus 10. For that, we have to cross multiply to this 1. Then it will become s into s plus 10 plus k all divided by s into s plus 10. Is it clear? The numerator will become s into s plus 10 plus k all divided by s into s plus 10. Now we can cancel that common s into s plus 10 and this s into s plus 10 in numerator. Now the term will become k by s into s plus 10 plus k by s into s plus 10 plus k. So c of s by r of s is equal to k by s square plus 10s plus k. K by s square plus 10s plus k. Compare c of s by r of s with its standard form. What is the standard form? Omega n square by s square plus 2 eta omega ns plus omega n square. Now we will get omega n square is equal to k, first finding. So omega n is equal to root k. Now compare the term of s. 10s is equal to 2 eta omega ns. So 2 eta omega n is equal to 10. So eta is equal to 0.5. If eta is equal to 0.5, we already know that omega n is equal to root k. Substitute these two things. Eta is equal to 0.5 and omega n is equal to root k. These two things in this equation. Now you will get 2 into 0.5 into root k is equal to 10. So k is equal to 100. And we also know that omega n is equal to root k. Omega n is equal to root k. So omega n is equal to root 100, that is equal to 10. Omega n is equal to 10. And we also got that the gain k is equal to 100 and omega n is equal to 10. Now the second question, find the percentage peak overshoot. Equation is percentage MP is equal to e raised to minus eta pi by root 1 minus eta square into 100. So substitute that eta value 0.5 in that equation, you will get 16.3 percentage, nothing else is there. And for peak time, Tp is equal to pi by omega d or pi by omega n root 1 minus eta square. Substitute that eta value and omega n value. Omega n, we already got that it is 10. Omega n, substitute omega n and eta value in this equation. Pi by 10 into root 1 minus 0.5 square. That is equal to 0.363 seconds. Okay. So this is only one problem. This is the common thing. You have to develop the C of S by R of S and compare with the standard equation. You may be asked to find such things like K. Sometimes such things may not be asked. You may be directly asked to find eta and such things by direct comparison. More problems will be there in the next lecture. So before that, you have to practice your own problems in this aspect, because these two classes is very, very important, this class and the upcoming class, because the entire problem sessions were covered on the second order system, and this may be a session where high chances for appearing university exam questions. Okay, so we will meet in the next class and practice your own problems. Okay, thank you.